that, I will like to take you to a small journey from the Stone Age of energy systems visualization towards a possible future. So not a guaranteed one, but a possible one. So for me personally, the Stone Age of energy system visualization started here, with these hardware control panels with huge walls filled with this stuff. You had barely digitalization in there. You had some blinking LEDs, yeah, for sure. But besides that, was not that user-friendly. So the next step forward, and please do not blame me for having one of the more recent screenshots of Xenon out in there. It was the dark ages where things get colorized, things get digitalized, things get nice to look and compact. So this was the dark age, still stuck to Windows. What's coming next? The present. So, as Jürgen already mentioned, it's easier to maintain a system that is just relying on a browser, yeah, than having a full-blown installation there. So, what Xenon version 15 can offer? On the one hand side, you all, or most of all from the energy business, are familiar with command processing. So in this case, we offer every command action that does not require the command sequencer to run on. You can see in there, at the small control screen, you also have the interlockings, because, of course, you need to see what's going on when you want to switch on or off a switchgear. You also need to be able to unlock things that can be unlocked in case you know what you're doing. And also a neat thing, what is the current implementation of WVS capable of, is to define a user lock in case your switchgear must not be operable, in case there is a maintenance, for instance. And also to release this lock. And previously, our WVS in scope for ALC and all these calculations was not that colorful. Yeah? And with Xenon 15 right now, we support also ALC by means of full colorization depending on ALC configuration and the system status, so the status of all your switchgear within. Then you have also the possibility to indicate whether there are faults and graphically show them. So the same thing that the native service engine does or has been doing for years. And last but not least, you have also this possibility to graphically show multiple or secured supply scenarios. So everything in these of these functionalities is right now available also in the WVS, which also can make us think a bit, because also with the WVS right now we are still stuck and in some ways relying on displays for interaction. So how can a possible future look like? Are we still relying on displays? There is a lot of research going on in head-over displays, in things like virtual reality, in other things like even holographic projection and things and stuff like that. So will the interaction with our energy management systems still be the same in 2, 5, 10, 15 years? I leave this question open so we can maybe have a discussion after 5 years again. So with this one, we have the visualization in hand. But you can imagine visualization alone does not do any good if it's not restricted. Yeah? And therefore, another topic I would like to bring in is our function authorization. So you usually have to not grant your users all the rights possible, and therefore the function authorization is made. So for Xenon versions up to Xenon 14, so less than Xenon 15, it was possible to use 128 predefined authorization levels. And as you can imagine, in a more flexible and dynamic world, this is a barrier, and we don't really like barriers. So this is a barrier that needed to fall. And what we did with Xenon 15 is to make this whole thing more dynamic. What does this mean for you and your customers and their projects? For existing projects, really nothing changed that much, but you can see in here it's possible to dynamically create, alter, and delete the authorization levels that you have within your project directly. So that you just have the things in hand that you really need. What else can be said to this? Well, it's still working on Linux as well. It's still working on the WVS and the native service engine. And for all the stuff that you created in there, you have complete freedom, because what we are thriving for is not a dedicated level itself. It's more a role-based function authorization that we want to have. So, and as you can see in here, with all this authorization stuff, really nothing changed that much, but it's up to 65,535 levels right now, so it's a huge amount, also sufficing the biggest projects that we have, and they are currently increasing in size by time and by time. But this story is not finished yet. There are still plans to also thrive this further, because there's currently a lot going on in this section. We want to have authorization levels that are available either locally or globally. We want to use, of course, more than one authorization level also at project content, which is obvious if you have a role-based approach in there. And as it turned out that also the combination with equipment down in the field and in the engineering studio itself is in some ways kind of a neat mixture. We also decided to do this for the engineering studio and for the authorization also in the service engine. So to have a combination of which user who is trained for operating, for instance, switchgear, is then allowed to switch on which device. This is basically the idea behind this whole thing.